I think I'm creating within the story is the feeling, the world that we're in, the world, when I say world, I mean just this street, right? Of this tizzy, this of action that's happening because one person has made a decision to take what feels like too drastic a step, right? And build this bioenergy producing system in their backyard, and what this means. So this would be what this means for, you know, the big thing that we heard constantly during the zoning fight was our property values. Our property values are going to tank. What is this going to do to our property values? Constant, which is so interesting because, you know, economically you look at it, and I'm not sure what a house being empty for 4 years did for their property values. You know, if you look at Zillow, that's how they you know, calculate all of that. So anyway, so that this obviously is would be an extreme, right? And then are we talking about any other you know, byproducts of this? Is there a smell? Is there, you know, are there things that are there problems that could happen? But I think I'm hoping, what I hope that the audience will see is a community engaging with, I'm about to use the worst pun. If we're talking about sustainability, do we shit or get off the pot? You know, honestly, you've blown my mind with this combo. And I guess that's exactly what it can do, right? Because I hear science and I'm like, oh, no, I can't do that. I just, you know, I go right to, oh, I was never good at it, or I never got it, or it's not, all of those can'ts, right? And so then when you have a theater lens, and I have to go in and learn this stuff, but I can learn it from my own point of view, which is a theatrical point of view, I get it, and I have patience for it, and I most importantly have a little more confidence, right? That I can understand it. So I think theater, like with a lot of things, ends up being a communication tool for things. You know, Heartbeat Ensemble, the theater that I co-founded here 20 years ago, uses theater with dealing with economics, dealing with data, dealing with medical scenarios. So we've never done science in this broad way that you're doing it, which is fantastic, but we have definitely used theater to communicate something to the general public that is often only information kept for a small group of people, right? And so I think that's what it can do. It makes sense on so many levels, in terms of where we're going as a society, in terms of resources, natural and otherwise, in terms of raising children. Oh my God, I can't imagine raising children not communally. And I, we have this joke in the house. We always, we have this catchphrase, communal living wins again. And it's always for like something really random and small, but like there are a million times, in a week that I am just so grateful that I live in this way, which is, just so much more flexible, and I'm just able to do a lot more. My children have, it's interesting. My daughter now is applying to college. So she just wrote her college essay on growing up in a communal household and in an intentional community, and what that was like for her and is like for her. And obviously she's at the very beginning of processing all of this as she goes on and out. But it'll be interesting to see, how they feel as time goes on. Yeah, I love it. I mean, I'm not going to lie, there's some real hard work involved. I mean, if I remember my father always telling me marriage is the hardest work you'll ever do. And then of course he would say, well, next to having children. But I believe that, and I'm married to 7 other adults. Right. So, and it's different levels of marriage, but it is a marriage, and we have to put in that same amount of work. So You know, you have to be willing, not just for the small, you know, and practical compromises, but you have to be willing to like, to do the socio-emotional work of living with people and going through life's ups and downs. The pandemic was brutal for us. You know, in some ways it was better, I think, than a lot of people, because we weren't isolated, we weren't alone. A lot of people talked about loneliness that we didn't have, but we had a range of reactions in the way people, and risk, you know, adversity and so forth, not adversity, risk, aversity. And those things, it was a lot to navigate. You know, for us, it was, although we care very much, our passions have tended to be, as activists, more around anti-capitalism and you know, the idea of anti-individual freedom, and you know, we are very much about neighborhood organizing and union organizing and so forth. So and organizing around poverty. Hartford is one of the poorest cities in the nation. And it's also the capital of one of the richest per capita states in the nation. So it's really a microcosm of our country. Sustainably, I mean, the amount that we're sharing on everything from electricity to water to gas to just our footprint is, you know, significantly smaller. And, you know, if you think, I mean, and getting into the nitty gritty, if you think of all the things that like you use a couple of times a year, and we have that for all of us. So, you know, things get, or think about appliances, you know, how much more use our appliances get with 11 people in the house, you know, that kind of thing. So that's definitely part of it. We have had chickens, we don't now, and we have, we compost, and interestingly, we would love more. I wonder if I could show you. We have two, right in the middle of the city, we have 2 acres, more land than we could, you know what to do with. The predominant thing in terms of sustainability is just combining and shrinking our footprint.
Can you imagine actually installing this Beevi toilet system in your house?
Yeah, 100%. It's so I was reading up on Jaeweon's the book that ultimately that he created, in terms of, and looking at how much, you know, the initial cost of, you know, because one of the things people will cry right away is this will cost so much money, you know, initially to build or to refit every toilet and so forth. Oh, and in the play, because we're at 2030, we're in 2030, the year 2030.
Mhm.
And so that is it, we're in a place where, and the degree, you know, we are at 1.5 Celsius above pre-industrial levels, which is as high as we're told we can go. And we've seen in those we're in about 7 years, right, between now and the time of the play, the world has seen, of course, more effects building each year. Yeah. And so part of the place starts after a major hurricane has, you know, destroyed a lot of our plumbing system and sewage system. And that's important, because those are things that happen anyway, right? And so then what are we going to replace with, as opposed to everything's working great, and, you know, why would we spend hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars to refit every home or something like that. But I could 100% see us having toilets that are, you know, that split our feces and our urine, and we, as you see, we absolutely have the space to build, you know, a system that would create bioenergy from it. So, I mean, gosh, it was, you know, heaven.
Dream.
It would be awesome. Yeah.
It's an eco dream. It's an eco dream.
An eco dream. And a, you know, social nightmare probably. But you know, hopefully that's what this work is all about, right? Let's push all these ideas, these visions of what could be. Let's push them now so that, you know, they can start to be not so outrageous.
Exactly.
And they can be doable. Otherwise, 7 years. I've got kids, you know, and we have 7 years to make this, to have this be reversible, to be able to, you know, that's the pressure's on.
The pressure's on, not just for writing the play, but in general, in terms of the
Yeah.
world, it's global. Julia, everybody's feeling it.